Hello, our friends. Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Take 3, dear ones.
This is take 3 because our main computer that's been doing a pretty good job for us is just inexplicably going offline, and Cindy sensed that same entity, the tall gray dude in the area, which we blasted out of the area energetically, so to speak, but yet the computer's not working good. So this is our second computer, which is actually a much better computer, but which gets hit with the audio issues no matter what we do. And we have spent hundreds of hours redoing videos and unloading, getting rid of programs, re-downloading programs, everything you could think of. It doesn't matter. So we will, I guess, be investing in another computer. And we see, before we get up to the update, a large explosion occurs at a steel plant in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Nobody was hurt. And yet another explosion, steel. Now, steel is it's used to build so many different things. And again, if we're talking about infrastructure and things like that, it's another one of those things that makes you wonder what's going on.
It sure does. It sure seems to be a lot of things that are affecting directly infrastructure and not necessarily, well, thank goodness, I don't see a lot of bodies being harmed.
Yes, that is good. And so they say this is the RV that exploded on 2nd Avenue North this morning, and it arrived on 2nd Avenue at 1:22 a.m. And so if anybody's got any info, call Crime Stoppers and definitely share it. And it's interesting. There is obviously some issues with AT&T after that explosion, and they do have some outages that are occurring. And we could take a peek at the live outage map, and you can see the area, even all the way over to Kansas, and even a little bit up over in Colorado as well. Look at that. All the way into North Carolina too. So interesting. And by the way, 911 is being affected in parts of Tennessee, Alabama, and Kentucky as well.
It really must have affected a huge part of AT&T.
So the president-elect, the VPs, they've all been notified as to what is going on. People are talking about this video where the Nashville mayor was, asked about what's going on, and he kind of smirked, and people were saying, that's kind of crazy. Why are you smirking? But it just felt like he was really nervous.
Oh, gosh, it did feel like a nervous laugh. It's like, what else is going to happen now type thing.
So this is out of CBS. They're talking about the fact that the FBI was on this so quick, and ATF, that perhaps they had a tip-off, but they haven't shared. And, I had spoken before that I felt things were being telegraphed for a while, because if you look back, when we were coming into the holiday season, you had certain alphabet agencies talking about the possibility of like Al-Qaeda and ISIS attacks here in the U.S. during the holiday season. But, the thing is, when you look at like Twitter and you look on certain forums, you got some people saying, oh, this has to be the left wing doing this, and others saying this has to be the right wing doing this. And this is probably exactly what is intended.
Yeah, to try to get people pit against each other, when really it's neither. It's higher up than that.
A lot of people are talking about this. This is Austin Kellerman, and this was live coverage from WKRN News 2. And it's interesting because he points out that there appears to be a column of maybe smoke or something, and then we get the blast. And so it felt like he was kind of questioning what was really going on, and I played it back at quarter speed. I don't have the approval to use it, and you never know what you get hit with as far as copyright claims and strikes and stuff, so I'm very cautious not to. But you do clearly see that there is right over here, there's going to appear like a column and then the big blast. So was it exactly what they're saying it was? Many people are talking about You know that mist in the morning that's on the grass? You know what you call that, right? Well, many people are thinking it's related to that, as they can't get to just 419. There's 420. Doesn't seem to want to let me have 419. And okay, well, I'll let you guys play it. I'll give you the link. I asked Cindy what she got from the guides.
Well, when you see that part that shoots up that looks thin, that's an ignition. That's an ignition igniting thing. How it was ignited, though, it does come from the air.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And we talked about the fact that, I mean, just remember what happened in Beirut and then everything that came out afterwards in Beirut. And it's hard to tell what's doctored. It's hard to tell what's added. You know, I mean, we have so much possibility with CGI and special effects. And, you know, it's hard to tell what's legit. Now, coming from this source with live coverage, you know, replaying it, and he seemed really curious. It feels very, very honest on his part, for sure. And I don't know if there would be so quickly doctored footage or not.
Well, to me, it doesn't feel doctored at all. I don't feel any deceit there.
And we had reports that starting around 4:30, people heard a series of gunshots, like somebody firing in the air. And so what we've heard is that there was a series of like 3 different blasts, almost like somebody maybe firing an automatic or semi-automatic, boom, 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 you know, kind of like a signal, you would think. Or maybe it was, there's some speculation, maybe it was just all about getting police to the area, because police were in the area. And then, you know, the blast came. And when you look at this one, you'll see, for one, this blast was incredibly brilliant. Incredibly brilliant. So you can see right back here the vehicle in question. And really, if you go all the way back, you see there's a policeman here. He's been walking the area because they more than likely they heard the gunshots and they were responding to that. So are they just trying to draw in the police is another question mark.
You know, it's so hard to say. I know they're using this underlying energy to ignite a lot of things right now.
And, you know, there was a report that one policeman was sent flying, and I wouldn't doubt if it was this gentleman, because he's just about over here, and then it's just a massive explosion. I mean, this was big. As you see, you know, he just heads out, and then all of a sudden you have that ignition, which you can't really it's just an immediate. Now that's curious, isn't it?
It looks like a big orb. There's no starting spot. It just
yeah, exactly. Now to me it's like something has already happened, right? Because look, we have this blast, but I still see the van in the background intact. I just noticed this now.
Yeah, I don't know if is that do cameras do this? I don't know, but I don't see an originating point of that thing that happened. I just see this orb here now.
Yeah, is this an orb really, or is this the ignition that you were talking about? And the RV doesn't look like it exploded at this point. It's it looks very intact, but yet we already have this energy coming out.
Yeah.
So that's really curious, and I did not notice this until we were just doing this, guys. So maybe you guys, some of you guys out there that are way better than I am technically, can play with this. We'll have all the links for you, and see what you come up with. So this makes me feel that maybe there was something that first went and ignited, and then the RV goes later.
Yeah, that could be, you know, and some of you guys are so sharp out there, you catch the most minutest of things, and then you guys know a lot of things too, so let us know what you come up with.
Because then you got that.
Right.
But if we roll back slowly, well, let's roll forward. So, boom, boom. And then we come back. And yeah, see, so the energy starts in.
Yeah.
There's this flash. before the RV is ignited. There's definitely a flash before the RV is ignited. Interesting.
It is very curious, yeah.
Well, that gives me more credence to this one then, because you'll see it when you play this back. You'll see that, and again, it's like right at 419, which I can't seem to get to.
Right.
Interference. Let's see if we go way up and then come back down.
Nope.
That's weird. Look at that.
It's almost like they took it out.
Uh-huh. Whew. What a manipulated world we live in. So Kenneth Grimm figures that this was probably purchased at an auto auction, because you could see the number 1893 on it and like the soapy letters that they put on, which would make sense. That would make sense. You buy something at an auction. Now, we had talked about the probability or possibility that this is all distraction because something else even more major may be ongoing. We see right here in Iraq, there's people on the streets and protesting. There was the capture of a high-ranking military militia official there. And here you see, remember that song? Yeah. So Far Away by A Flock of Seagulls? Yes. That backed militia groups in Iraq declared general mobilization against U.S. troops following the arrest of one of their leaders by intelligence services. There's a lot going on out there right now. And I know when I put the first video up, it kept blocking me. And I had to keep taking keywords, hashtags out, because there's a whole bunch of hashtags that they wouldn't let me put there. And so I had to keep trying again and again to get the thing published. So, wow. And just taking a peek at some of the headlines over here at South Front, and you see Russian warplanes are pounding Turkish proxies in greater Idlib, and the Syrian army's hunting down another one of those groups of terrorists, supposedly, in Homs Desert. And we have a lot more Russian military equipment and helicopters being deployed as well. We've talked about that happening over in Syria. We've talked about that happening over in Libya as well. Things are hot. They're very hot out there. So, be prepared, because things are going to an all new level right now.
Right. Things are going to be picking up and moving faster. Yep.
And you got from the guides that this might not be just an isolated event. This could be kind of a triggering event that we might see more things rolling out down the line.
Yeah, they're using this underlying dark energy as a trigger to trigger more events. And this is the part where it becomes extremely important that we send our good intentions out, because it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be so horrible. They have plans, and they're very dark, and they're very awful, and we can push back with our good intentions, our good energy, we can push back. We have a choice about how things play out. They don't need to be so dark.
So we'll keep sending our prayers and positive energy out into the world, recognizing our power to, call the darkness for what it is, and these cold-blooded, very, very reptilian acts as they keep unfolding before our eyes. As always, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you are subscribed and have the bell clicked. And also thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. If you need to set up an appointment, reach us at EEARTS@protonmail.com or evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.